Welcome back. All right, so my top 10 for today, fast starts. So yesterday I looked at players off to surprisingly slow starts. Today it's surprisingly fast. So you're not going to see Draisaitl. You're not going to see McDavid because nobody's surprised when McDavid's putting up 2 points a game. We're more surprised when he doesn't score than when he does. So fast starts. And for me, it's players that are either defying the aging process, which is all I see with Crosby and Malkin having lower numbers. They're just getting older. We're going to see numbers eventually drop for these guys. And I've even got a rookie on this list. And I try not to have rookies in terms of slow starts because some rookies have a harder time with the NHL than others. But there's one rookie having a really good start that I think deserves to be on this list because it kind of came out of nowhere and it's kind of nice to see. So, all right, again, it goes from least surprising to most surprising. There's also another caveat to this. It's the number of games played. So, in terms of number of games played, I have to put him at the bottom. But if he keeps this up, this could be one of the stories of the year. Carter Verhaeghe, who I have to say, Tampa's not missing him so much. Look at the record right now. That being said, I know that for fans of the Lightning, they do wish they still had him. He has 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points in 6 games in Florida so far. And again, we can look at Florida's, who they've played against and go, well, yeah, but it's against Detroit or Chicago. Still, 5 goals in 6 games is an excellent start. I didn't see that coming. Verhaeghe's been a genius pickup for them. Again, it's only at the bottom because he's only played the 6 games so far. And 7 points in 6 games is great, but it's still, yeah. So that's where I've got him. Number 9, and this again is level of surprise. So to me, it's not as much of a surprise, but it is noteworthy. And so Philipp Grubauer is on the board. He has a 7-2 record, and he has a .934 save percentage. Colorado's quite happy with what they've got from Grubauer so far. Washington, they have a goaltender themselves who's doing pretty good with Vanacek, and of course when Samsonov comes back, they have a nice 1-2 punch there. But I've always liked Grubauer, and it's nice to see him doing well. And so far for Colorado, they have to be happy with what they've got out of Grubauer. So check that off. Number 8. Yeah, put him at number 8. So Christian Dvorak is one of those players that that Arizona has basically invested in as part of that core of the future. And in some cases, there's been stops and starts. Like Keller has had a little bit of a slow start, but Arizona's had a lot of trouble scoring goals, right? And yet Dvorak is here in 9 games with 5 goals, 4 assists. So he's doing very well. There were other players in Arizona I considered. Now, yesterday, I understand I had 2 Columbus Blue Jackets on that list of 11, and I apologize because I was really trying to restrict it to 1 player per team. So I don't have anybody else from the Coyotes on this one. But Dvorak, to me, stands out as a guy who's got off to an excellent start, and we'll see whether or not he can keep this up. But so far, he has looked very good for them. So, yeah, I have him at number 8 on this list overall. Number 7. Now, I've been talking about Joe Pavelski since the start of the season, and if he keeps this up, it'll be the biggest story of the season. He has 7 goals and 7 assists, 14 points in 7 games. That's pretty darn good. I don't see Pavelski keeping it up, but remember, he could go scoreless for his next 7 games and still be a point-a-game player. It's been amazing to watch him. This is playoff Joe Pavelski. It's been absolutely an amazing run. I don't know how far this can go, but as a Stars fan, I've enjoyed it so far. Again, what busts this one down a little bit, he's played less games than some of the other guys on this list. So I thought, all right, 7 games, 14 points is amazing. We'll see whether or not he can keep that up. Number 6. Surprising. Number 6. Yep. So currently sidelined, Miles Wood. And we'll see if when the Devils come back and start playing again, whether or not they'll be negatively impacted through this break they're going through, right? This unscheduled break. 9 games, 5 goals, 3 assists for Miles Wood. I've always been a fan of Miles Wood. Good hard-nosed player who I felt had some offensive upside, but 5 goals in 9 games does surprise me. 8 points in 9 games surprises me as well. So I've got Miles Wood on the board too. And I don't expect him to necessarily be able to keep this up, but he's been a huge part of what's been a decent start for the Devils. Not as many wins as I think the GM might want, but they've done well considering the group of death that they're in, and the future's bright. And Wood right now is earning his paycheck. Number 5. 5? Yeah, I'll put him at 5. So, in the offseason, as a fan of the Bruins and watching what happened to them against Tampa, and just in general, Nick Ritchie's play was not awe-inspiring. And there were plays that people weren't happy with him about. Neither was I as a Bruins fan. And there was talk of, suspend him. And my statement was, hey, if you want to punish the Bruins, leave him in the lineup. I have not had this feeling about Ritchie at all this year. 10 games, 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. He fits right into the top 6. Whatever he did in the offseason has worked. Whatever the Bruins did with him in the offseason has absolutely worked. This is the Nick Ritchie that the Anaheim Ducks waited for, and then they gave up. And now the Boston Bruins have him, and he's looked great so far this year. I don't know how far this can go, but so far, it looks good. Ritchie's been fantastic for the Bruins, and they have to be very happy with what they're getting from him right now. Number 4, this is where the rookie shows up. And it's a goaltender. Kevin Lankinen is 3-1-3, has a .935 save percentage for the Chicago Blackhawks. Before the season started, we talked a lot about Chicago and their goaltending and how it wasn't good enough, right? This isn't going to be good enough. And Delia and Subban were seen as probably being 1 and 2, and Subban probably being number 1. And, well, what are you going to do? Lankinen with a .935 save percentage. And he seems to be getting better with each game. So while Chicago may not have a season that sees them go into the playoffs, Lankinen showing that, hey, he can be their goaltender for now. He gives them some pretty good stats and a chance to win. His win-loss record is very good. This is not a coincidence. And he is getting them some points where the team may not deserve those points, but he's getting them. And that's what you look for in a goaltender, is a guy who can steal you the odd win here and there and at least get you to overtime and get you that point. He's been solid. Number 3. So we're down to the big guys now, are we? All right. In terms of surprise, Andrew Copp has been that so far. Andrew Copp, 10 games, 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points for Winnipeg. Comparatively speaking, with his career totals up until now, that's fantastic. Now, I have been an Andrew Copp fan for a very long time. I'm not 100% surprised by the offense he's showing. I'm more surprised he's finally getting that opportunity from Winnipeg. I had figured he might have to go to Seattle to get that opportunity. And right now, if you're Seattle, you have to look at some of these guys off to fast starts and say, make a note of these guys. Make a note, because they're probably going to drop off. And by the end of the year, they may not be players who are getting protected by their team. We may be able to scoop in and get a guy or two who is actually pretty good offensively. Vegas was able to do it in 2017. There's no reason Seattle can't do it this year as well. So I've been a big fan of Andrew Kopp's game for a long time, and it's nice to see him finally getting the offense that I'd hoped we would see from him. Number 2. Yeah, I'll put him at number 2. And it is a surprise. And I know for some they're going to make claims that Tyler Toffoli was a big goal-scoring star. He really is not. If you look over his numbers, so right now he's got 10 games played, 9 goals, 4 assists, 13 points. It is noteworthy that 8 of those goals are against Vancouver. Tyler Toffoli, throughout his career in LA, feasted on the Canucks. And so we'll see how things work for him as they're playing other teams. But so far, Toffoli has had this level of play in Montreal. I don't think he would have got there with Vancouver. I think that while it's easy to say, well, if he'd stayed in Vancouver, what might have happened? He wouldn't have had 9 goals in 10 games. I'm just going to say straight out. Montreal has something going on. And I know people are going to say, why didn't you put up Nick Suzuki? Because I knew Nick Suzuki was going to be excellent. It's why last year, when I did a video on 10 rookies that I thought were going to have great sophomore breakthrough seasons, I didn't talk about Suzuki in that video because I already thought Suzuki had an excellent rookie season. He wasn't a Jack Hughes. He wasn't a guy who's being labeled as, oh, well, that guy's a bust. So, yeah, I think with Toffoli, he is benefiting from being with the right line mates, being on a team that's definitely getting the best out of him. I don't know how far this can go, but he's a 20 goal scorer throughout his career that now is playing like he's a 40 or 50 goal scorer. Again, when he's not playing Vancouver, we'll see how it goes and how many goals he puts up. But so far, it's been an excellent run for him, and it is one of the more surprising starts to the season. And at number 1, I don't see people talking about him because I know that he's been, well, he wasn't well thought about last year during the playoffs, and I can't say that I could defend him. But James Van Riemsdyk so far this year, wow. You want to talk about some synergy going on in Philly. James Van Riemsdyk, 11 games, 5 goals, 10 assists, 15 points. He is off to an absolutely fantastic start, and it's legit. He's playing really, really well. His offensive instincts are fantastic. So while at the defensive end of the rink, he and maybe a few other guys on this board might not be absolutely awesome at it, he's awesome at getting the points. Right now, it has been a great run for him. I know the Flyers had kind of a meltdown last night against the Bruins, but JVR, absolutely fantastic start to the season, and I didn't see that one coming. So that's the whole idea of this list is 10 players that I didn't see this kind of a start coming from them, at least at this level, and we'll see which one of the 10 can keep it up. So which of the 10 players do you most think can keep scoring at this pace? Remember, Montreal doesn't play Vancouver 30 times a year, and so that's going to hurt Toffoli's numbers in all likelihood. But let me know your thoughts, and which player are you surprised at the fast start they've had so far this year? Let me know. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just tapping upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.